every option that we offer to sellers in the terms business are simple as soon as you understand all the levers that you can pull on. I get asked often, and that is, what is the easiest technique to use when you're first getting started in real estate? Well, all of our techniques are easy, and if we look at all the techniques, we have 4 of them. We have an assign out, we have a lease option, we have a subject to deal, and we have owner financing. The simple answer here is an assign out option would be the easiest technique to use when you're first getting started, because it is a simple 2-page agreement that you would get signed with the seller. You would agree upon a purchase price, you would agree upon a monthly payment, and then as soon as that paperwork is filled out, you could go to market and go ahead and procure a tenant buyer. Now, once you have that tenant buyer, you can simply assign that buyer over to the seller. Now, this is really easy to communicate with the seller because the seller is going to get part of the non-refundable deposit. He or she's going to be getting a cash flow every single month on the property, and they're going to be benefiting from principal pay down if there's no mortgage on the house. So the seller is getting an absolute huge win, and a majority of the time you're even able to get them to their price. So as you can see, that communication with a seller can be rather easy, especially when you're first getting started. Now, our first deal that we ever constructed here in our business was an AO. Now, the seller was on and off the market for about 6 months, and we were able to tie up that property and then go ahead and sell the property to a tenant buyer in under 30 days. Now, that buyer drove by that house day in and day out because he lived right in that neighborhood. And when there was a sign with a realtor in that yard, he knew that he could not qualify for that loan, so he never pursued that property. But as soon as we stuck our rent-to-own program sign in the yard, the buyer immediately called us. And we were able to put an amazing person, he was a mason, in that property, and he ended up buying it within 2 years within his rent-to-own program. So he was happy, the seller was happy, and then we were happy. We even split that non-refundable deposit, our payday one, with the seller 50-50 on that. Now, we don't do that anymore, that higher percentage, but when we're first getting started in the business, that was an easy way to get started. Now, the second would be a lease option. Now, a lease option would be another simple way to get involved because, number one, we're not putting cash down on a lease option, and also the only thing that's built into the agreement is a $10 fee. So you could get a property that creates you 3 distinctive paydays and give you absolute control of this property for $10. Now, it's the second option when it comes to simplest or easiest way into the business, because when you're speaking with a seller, the seller does not have to transfer title on this agreement. So it makes it rather easy for the seller to say, hey, this is a good option for me. Now, I would highly recommend that you go ahead and dive into our webinar if you haven't already, and just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/webinar. That way you can look at all of the different techniques that we have. Because the truth is, there's no reason why you should have to settle for one of these options. Because if there is more money to be made in the deal, and you have the ability to go ahead and work with us, and we can help oversee the deal that you're working on, and you're able to create tens of thousands of more dollars because you have somebody in your corner working with you, then I would suggest that you continue to reach back out to us and book a strategy call. That way we could see how we could best work with you. Because if I look at the associate community today, I've seen many students and many associates have the ability to make additional tens of thousands of dollars when they weren't there as far as their skill sets yet, but they had our community that could help them get them to the finish line. So to wrap up this Q&A, the simplest answer would be use the AO and the lease purchase as your techniques if you're out there on your own. But let's get you over to the side of ownership with our sub-twos and owner financing more quickly by working within our community.